What's up, y'all? Welcome into another edition of the DNVR Rams Podcast, presented by our friends at Branded Bills. To brandedbills.com, use that code BBDNVR for 15% off of your first order. Happy Friday, everyone. We've got a really fun show for you. I was fortunate to catch up with Ali Farokhmanesh this morning. We are going to play that interview in its entirety. Always great to have Ali on. He's really introspective. Just a really thoughtful and accessible coach, which is great for me, obviously, on the media side of things. It's not like that with all programs. You know, it hasn't always been a situation where you could just reach out and be able to really get a conversation with the coach, not whenever you want, but pretty close to it. And I'm just really thankful to Ali for the time and to CSU for the access. If you're watching live with us on YouTube and you wouldn't mind hitting the thumbs up, I'd certainly appreciate it. Say what's up in the Toyota chat. If you're listening later on the audio only side, hit us with a 5-star review. I know you can comment and stuff on Spotify now too, which is cool. Always appreciate the engagement. Always appreciate how active and supportive the CSU community is with this show. By the way, take advantage. We have a merch sale right now going on. You can find that at our website, thednvr.com. Basically 30% off across the board. Now's a great time to stock up. If you need CSU gear, we've got some cool CSU shirts. There's all kinds of fun stuff on there now. Now we've got like CSU glasses and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty neat to see. You know, it wasn't that long ago where we had like 5 or 6 total shirts, and now there's all kinds of cool stuff on there on the site, so make sure you take advantage of that. We're going to get to that interview with Ali at 11:15 a.m. I am going to start by just going right into things. The Rams extended their winning streak to UNLV to 4 games. Second straight year CSU has been able to sweep UNLV. 3-1 against the Rebels over the last 4 road games, which is impressive. And if you go back to last season, including the Mountain West Tournament, CSU has now won 5 straight games at the Thomas and Mack Center. That's actually one of the things that I asked Ali about. Is there something to be said about that? Are certain buildings just more comfortable, more familiar than others? I think you guys will enjoy his perspective on that. But it's been fun to see. It's been great to see the Rams have some success. UNLV, admittedly, is a weird program. I've talked a lot about how Jekyll and Hyde they can be on their best night. They can hang with anybody in the league. They can upset top 25 teams. They certainly have talent. I mean, Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn, he's playing as well as anybody in the country right now from a scoring perspective. But that is kind of a team that can greatly vary from half to half. They tend to go down and then come back and make things interesting like they did in this one. But it's a good win, especially for a Rams team that needed some validation. You did what you were supposed to against some of the lower teams in the league, plus you got a little bit of payback against Wyoming. You certainly did not want to get swept by the Pokes in your last season in the same conference together. And I think you wanted a statement against a team like UNLV, which again isn't what it was. It's not 1990 anymore. Jerry Tarkanian isn't going to lead a resurgence. You know, we're not going to see them in the national championship anytime soon. But that is a team that is one of the faces of Mountain West basketball historically. The Rams really struggled against UNLV my entire childhood, so I kind of appreciate, you know, getting a little bit of revenge in that sense. And even some of those good CSU teams with Zay and Roddy, UNLV was kind of a thorn in their side. Bryce Hamilton seemingly would go off for 35 every single time they played. But this was a game where you wanted to go out and kind of prove that you're capable of not just beating the San Jose States and Air Forces of the world, but punching up a little bit and beating somebody ahead of you in the standings, which we haven't seen a ton of this year. Now have a couple of really quality road wins between Grand Canyon and UNLV. Grand Canyon swept San Diego State this year. So, I mean, that win in Phoenix just looks better and better. And I think when you look back at the end of the year, this will be one of the more significant wins. Again, UNLV is a bit erratic at times, but they do have talent. They were hot. They had won 3 straight. They've pulled off some good wins in league play. And again, I mean, Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn is the kind of guy who can heat up enough to beat you by himself. He did have a massive performance in this game. 31 points, also got 20 points out of Tyron Jones. Not a huge game for Kamani Hamilton, which is big for CSU, but really big performance from Rex Steiner and from Jevin Mooney's. Shout out to Sterling in the Toyota chat for the super chat. I appreciate you, buddy. He says, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for the consistent support. It really does mean the world to me. And I make this type of content because there's this awesome CSU community out there that frankly serves more in the radio space. I think there's a lot of great written content, and honestly, there's a lot of great streaming content these days between, you know, us and DNVR Rams and what Steve Ivey's doing, and they've got the in-house stuff with Rams Live. But I try to make the type of CSU content that didn't really exist when I was coming up, and I'm thankful to folks like you for making all of this possible. Getting back on track, being a little less happy, diving into some of the takeaways and key stats here. Jeff was obviously massive in this one. 14 first points. He was 8 of 8 from the floor over his first 19 minutes. Had to jump back into the starting lineup with Pasquarelli out. They were also missing JoJo. Didn't skip a beat. You know, his ability to kind of seamlessly fill whatever role the Rams need of him has been so huge. His ability to kind of get things going and establish that early lead. Obviously, UNLV, they fought back into it after going up by as much as 14 in that first half. You give up a couple of late threes, including a buzzer beater. Feels like CSU gives up 5 buzzer beaters a year from half court. That's hyperbole, but it just feels like a lot of those have gone against the Rams over the years, although maybe karma-wise we're owed a few just based on that Isaiah Stevens game out at the Thomas and Mack Center a couple years ago where he just had a couple of circus shots. This was a fun back-and-forth game, though. You know, I felt like both teams had their runs. I was impressed with the way that CSU came out and set a tone physically. They were shooting free throws 6 minutes into the game, you know, so that was a testament to their persistence and dedication to work the paint, which has been huge for this team of late. I picked Ali's brain on that as well. I think this is a team that's kind of figured out you're going to get good looks from 3. You don't want to turn down wide open shots, but any team is going to get hot from 3, or like you're going to always be in it if you're hot from 3. But the margins, like the ability to compete with consistency, that stems from being able to do the little things like rebounding, like not turning the basketball over, like getting to the free throw line, knocking down your free throws, like the Nuggets could do in the crunch time last night. Tough loss. But the Rams in this one, I just thought that they did a good job of getting UNLV into early foul trouble. CSU got into a little bit of foul trouble themselves, which could have been problematic given the fact that they were shorthanded. But I thought they responded well. I also thought the refs loosened up a little bit over the final 20 minutes compared to the first. Maybe weren't calling every little ticky-tacky thing with the same type of consistency that they were early on. But this was a game that you needed to win if you were CSU. I've talked a lot about the importance of trying to get out of that 8-9 line for the conference tournament. With Nevada falling to San Jose State the other night, there is a slim chance you'd likely have to win out on top of having, you know, a couple of bad losses in both Nevada and Grand Canyon. There is a slim path to potentially sneaking into that 4 spot if just all hell breaks out these next couple of weeks and we see true anarchy. But likely, you know, best case, you're looking at that 6-11 game, maybe 7-12. It would just be nice to get out of the 8-9 line. It's just probably against a grimy Fresno State team or a third game against Wyoming. I don't love either of those matchups. And then if you win, you get Utah State. So it's just not the best draw in terms of giving yourself the best opportunity to make a run. You're certainly going to have to beat a team of Utah State's caliber, likely at some point, if you really did make a run like you did last year and find a way to win it all. But, I mean, if we're splitting hairs here, you'd love to give yourself the easiest possible route to that matchup and have it happen on day 4 instead of potentially day 2. I thought there was a lot that was encouraging about this performance from CSU. The fact that they closed the game out was huge, especially when you look at how UNLV has been able to come back on teams. That was right in their wheelhouse. And I was actually talking to my dad on the phone about it in the second half. We're watching on together. And even, when the Rams go up double digits, I just kept thinking to myself, that run from UNLV is coming. It's what they do. They go down 20 or 15, and then they find a way to claw back in it. And then you look up with 2 minutes to go, and they're right there in the game. It's there for the taking. This was no different. Credit to UNLV for not laying down, for finding a way to make things interesting, for turning up the defensive intensity too. Things did get a little bit hairy with the Rams. They struggle with that ball pressure in the backcourt. That's been a persistent thing with CSU this year, and that is a little bit worrisome going into the San Diego State game where you're going to face a ton of defensive pressure. But they found a way to escape the win. Jay Butler hit some late clutch free throws. And I just kind of feel like this was a game that epitomized the team victory, right? This isn't last year's group. You're not being carried by somebody who's going to go in the first round of the NBA draft. There's some strength in that in numbers too, right? Like, you can't just look at CSU and say, well, if Jeff has an off night, we're going to be fine. Or if Ecksteiner doesn't shoot the ball well, we're going to be fine. So many guys right now are stepping up, and so many individuals stepped up for CSU in this game. Kyle Jorgensen had a season high 7 assists. His scoring's been down a little bit, but he's rebounding. He's making good reads. And his ability to pass the ball, particularly from the top of the key, it really opens up the spacing for this team. It allows some of those driving lanes. It allows you space to cut. And he's such a good passer for a player of his size and a shooter, so you have to respect him out there. It really has been huge. His scoring might be down, but he's playing with basketball. He's making smart reads. He's not trying to do too much like he maybe was in that Utah State loss about a month back. I was really impressed with him, and I felt like his passing early was big for this team. Then, Jeff heats up, and he scores 14 points, and he goes 8 of 8 from the floor. That was huge to see. Kind of passes the torch to Ecksteiner in the second half, who scores 12 of his 18. It wasn't the same type of huge offensive night from Jay Butler as it was against Wyoming, but he still had 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and he hit 4 huge free throws late to seal the deal. I mean, that's ice water in his veins, right? That's exactly what you want to see in that situation. That is how you potentially leave the window open and maybe blow a game, is if you start missing free throws down the stretch. That was huge. So many guys in key stretches of this game stepped up when their number was called. And even Darnell Slater, I mean, this is somebody who basically hasn't played outside of garbage time since late December, missed the last game with illness, has to step into the lineup and play legitimate minutes. That's not an easy thing to do. And he contributes with an awesome game. I mean, he had 9 points, 2 of 5 on the floor, didn't try and force it, but I like that he was aggressive. He attacked the hoop, got to the line, 5-6 there, had a couple of steals. He looked really good, so much so that, you wonder if maybe we see a little bit more of him down the stretch. We'll have to see kind of what happens with JoJo there. They're still really high on him, and they should be. He's had some rough stretches, but I'm telling you, he's got a bright future. He's much deeper offensively. His bag is much deeper than what he's shown this year. He's just a guy that just needs time to develop, which is kind of been the case with a lot of players on the team this year. But we're seeing them come on strong as the year progresses, and this team right now is playing some of its best basketball at the right time now. You got to keep it up. You still got some tough games. You got to go to the pit. San Diego State at home is going to be tough. We'll talk about that a little bit after I play the interview with Ali Farokhmanesh. But I thought this was a really encouraging showing from so many different guys, and the ability of guys like Mooney's and Rexsteiner to create for themselves and knock down tough shots from all 3 levels, that continues to be huge for this team. I thought Augie had some really nice moments in that second half, especially with Kerry Booth and foul trouble. You needed to be able to depend on him a little bit, missing free throws. That's been a thing with him all year, unfortunately. But he gets to the line at ease, And he's really dangerous in that mid-range game. He's stronger than he looks. He's a better athlete than you maybe guess just sizing him up. He's very skilled. He's got good footwork. And he's got a really versatile skill set. And I think he quietly could be pretty important for CSU if they were to make a run, because depth is going to be a big factor for this team if CSU is able to go on some type of run here down the stretch. That's going to be one of this team's greatest strengths. And I was just so impressed with the mentality, the ability to work the paint. 48 points in the paint in this game. That is wild. 20 of 27 at the line, 59% from the floor. I shared a stat on Twitter that one of the UNLV beat writers shared, and it was like statistically the second worst defensive showing from UNLV in the KenPom era. So like one of their worst showings over the last 20 years. And I some of that was maybe not great defense on there, but I think more than that, it was just really good offensive execution from the Rams. I'll throw a couple of key stats out before we play that interview real quick. Let me take a quick breather, shout out our awesome partners, and then stick around because we're going to play the whole interview, about a 25-minute conversation with Ali Farokhmanesh. All right, if you drop the ball on Valentine's Day, don't worry. You can redeem yourself. I have got the ticket. Head to Benihana. They've got awesome happy hour specials. Their 3, 6, 9 happy hour menu. It has awesome items starting at just $3. Pretty intuitive. Specialty rolls, cocktails, premium bites. It is a great way to get the evening jumping. It's available Monday through Friday at both the Denver and Broomfield locations from 3 to 6 p.m. The hibachi grill is obviously a big part of the selling point. It's the field, if you will. It's where the action happens. But the action never stops at Benihana. Obviously, the shrimp toss, the onion volcano, the beating heart fried rice. There's so many cool things. It's a great way to wow your significant other, maybe impress the kids. Report card season coming around. They're doing well. Take them out for some Benihana. They're open on all holidays. And right now, the Wagyu of the World Tour is going on. Try the most premium steaks from all around the world, seared right in front of you from Japan, Australia, US. And it's even better when you mix in some of their various honey, hot honey lobster. They've got Wagyu umami. They've got truffle butter. The options are endless. Make your reservation and find out more at benihana.com. I also want to talk to you about our friends over at Toyota. Trucks have always been a part of Toyota's DNA for generations. Toyota's built durable legends destined for greatness and perfect for Colorado. Whether you're conquering off-road trails, whether you're hauling the way to the world, there's a Toyota truck that's just right for you. Check out the Tacoma. Check out the Land Cruiser. That iconic bad boy is back. Toyota offers 17 models with available all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive with the Epic 4Runner. They also offer more low and zero-emission vehicles combined than any other automaker to give customers numerous choices to reduce their carbon footprint. Really the perfect Colorado vehicle. You have the durability and the dependability four-wheel drive, so you can feel safe and reassured when you're out in the winter. I swear we're going to get hit so hard these next couple of months to make up for this warm winter we've had in Colorado. But they've got great options if you're trying to be eco-friendly as well. 16 hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the Tundra i4 Max hybrid truck. Toyota SUVs take command on the road and on the trail, so you can explore the road less traveled without sacrificing smooth city rides in SUVs like the RAV4 and Grand Highlander. Toyota is a proud partner of CSU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR. Toyota, let's go places. All right, I'm going to try not to yap too much here and get to the interview because I know that's what everybody is truly here for. A couple of more key stats that I thought were really big for the Rams in that win over UNLV. 5-13 from three-point in that second half. As much as I have harped on how big it's been to be tough and to embrace playing inside out and to work the paint and get to the line, kind of felt like to go out on the road and beat a team with UNLV's offensive capabilities, you were going to have to hit some shots. Only 2 of 10 in that first half. Jevin Mooney's hit both of them. In the second half, a little bit better, and it allowed you to withstand some of those runs from UNLV. Felt like they couldn't miss for stretches in that second half. 22 assists on 32 made field goals. Really great team basketball. The ball movement was great. Love to see, people setting screens. They kept doing this little pin down action that would just open up an easy little cut for uncontested layups. I feel like the Rams did it 6 times in that game. It was awesome. 10 second chance points, plus 14 points off of turnovers. So capitalistic, which was great. Maybe gave up a few too many second chance points in that first half. Had a couple of turnovers late that allowed UNLV to hang around, but ultimately just a really impressive win, and sets you up here for an opportunity to really make a statement. I mean, you beat this San Diego State team at home, extend the winning streak to 5. You've got a really favorable schedule. You don't want to overlook anybody, but Fresno and San Jose State, those are games that you can win. All of a sudden, you've got a chance to really get some momentum here going into the Mountain West tournament where anything is possible. But let's play that conversation with Ali Farokhmanesh. Really appreciate him giving me some time this morning to talk about the growth of this team, what he's learned about himself as a coach, and so much more. You're going to really enjoy it. So without further ado, here's that interview. Joining me on the DNVR Rams podcast, we've got a special guest today, Colorado State men's head basketball coach Ali Farokhmanesh. Ali's been on a couple of times, so I always appreciate him giving us some time. Got the orange on, got a big game coming up on Saturday. I've got a lot to ask him about. I do have a random question for you, though, right off the bat, that I don't know why I was thinking about this the other day, but I saw Sports Illustrated, and it reminded me that you were on Sports Illustrated. Has there ever been anyone that's mentioned that moment or recognized you that kind of left you like surprised or starstruck? Like, I don't get recognized that much. I'm not that big of a deal. But I mean, you were on Sports Illustrated. I got to imagine at some point somebody's referenced that moment to you and you were just like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, Shaq knows who I am.
Yeah, I think when I was at Nebraska as a GA, because I thought this was cool, but Gus Johnson came up to me because I think Gus Johnson's like one of the best announcers for basketball specifically. And he came up to me and like he started like talking to me for like 15 minutes, and I was like, man, I want to talk to you. Why are you talking to me? That and then I don't know, the weirdest one, most recent one was though, at the UNLV game, they have like a press row right there, and they have like seats for fans that like sit right next to you.
Yeah.
Um, and like five of them, like right before the game starts, one of them goes, "Hey man, I love that shot against Kansas." And he goes, I didn't like it versus UNLV, but I love that shot against Kansas." And I turned back to him and like just started talking to him. So that was like the most recent time that someone had. So right in the middle of the game.
Do you ever get tired of it getting brought up? I mean, it's pretty neat that you have this signature moment in the tournament's history and that it's kind of going to live on forever. But has there ever been a time where it's like, all right, it's not the only thing I've done?
No, I'm good with it. Like I like when people bring it up. It brings back good memories for me. It reminds me of my teammates and that team and my time at Northern Iowa too. So it's more nostalgic for me than anything else. So and it makes me feel good that like I'm not just like I kind of look like I played basketball. I'm kind of getting past that point now. Like more people are surprised when I said I played basketball now. So I'm actually appreciative when somebody brings it up because then that recognizes like, oh, you did actually play basketball.
They just got to see you on the court. You've still got game. I've seen you hoop out there. You can still move.
Every once in a while. Can't move quite the same anymore. I'm a straight catch and shoot guy now.
That's just being in your 30s, I think, man. It's catching up to us.
100%.
I actually even seeing the snack time videos, one of the thoughts I had was, man, it would be nice to have that college metabolism again.
100%. I'm not gonna lie. Like I go all out on snack time. Like it's I get the ice cream, the candy. Like at that point, all bets are off. Once you get a win on the road, like you dive in.
Who's taken over the role of worst snack picker? Because it used to be Cooley. He was always going like Raisin Bran and stuff. Who's got that title now?
Yeah, it was funny. We were talking about that in Vegas about how like Cooley was by far, it wasn't even close. Like there was not a margin. There was no second place. It was just Cooley was the list. Um, I don't know. I don't think we have a bad snack guy anymore. John McCone was last year was pretty bad. So we got on him about that. But his snack choices, they've definitely upgraded recently. Um, we don't have a bad one, I don't think. We got some pretty good snack guys. I think it says a lot about our team. We just had to get rid of Cooley. The milk with the cereal at post game. Like I don't know about that. That's it sends some different vibes you don't want to be sending to people.
Like you gotta at least go like cinnamon toast crunch or something fun. Like if you're gonna go cereal, but like Raisin Bran, like I mean, you might as well eat an apple while the rest of us are eating candy.
100%. Well, even like I don't just cereal from a grocery store or not cereal from a gas station just doesn't. I don't know. That just doesn't sound like you should be doing that.
I'll be honest, Rec the other night got 7-Eleven pizza, and I was like, that's a bold choice. I'm not
Yeah.
judging you, but it's a bold choice.
Well, he messed up and he forgot to order his post game meal. So that was on him.
So we needed some real food. I get it. A big win, obviously, over UNLV. Congrats. Rams have been pretty comfortable at Thomas and Mac the last couple of years. 5 straight wins overall there. What do you feel like is I mean, is there something to that, or is it just random? Like, is there something about, I don't know, we just feel good in this building?
It's yeah, I don't know. It's maybe we're used to it just because playing in the Mountain West tournament. It's I always used to think that was an unfair advantage for UNLV getting the host the conference tournament essentially. But I think it's almost kind of hurt them in some ways because now you're used to playing in that environment. You're used to the atmosphere, the arena, everything. So I don't know if it's actually helped them having that. But I don't know if it's anything more than just on any given night, you can really beat anybody in this league. And I think that's kind of shown up exactly with how this league's going this year is there's basically 1 through 9 they all can compete against each other.
I've got a lot of questions for you just about the team in general and how they're doing, but you know, you're about 75% through the conference slate, so we're closing in on the conclusion of your first season. Just what's kind of been something that surprised you about being a head coach?
Um, just all the decisions, just the small daily decisions. Even like when our plane broke down, heading to Vegas, like, do we get off the plane right now and leave? Or do we try to find another plane to take to fly to Vegas that night? Or do we just let them sleep in their beds here and then leave in the morning? What time do you get up in the morning? Do you have breakfast for them waiting here? Are they going to eat it anyways? Do you have smoothies when you get there? It's all those small decisions, especially in your first year. Um, I think we had to make when Nico was here, and probably our first year at Drake. Then we got here was still kind of similar transition, just at a different place. But I think that first year, it's like all those small decisions about just how you operate, how things move, with a whole new staff. Like you're having to make all those decisions until those things start flowing a little more naturally going forward. So I think that's one of the things that I've noticed more in my first year, and then just managing a game. Before I was thinking about a lot of stuff, obviously, like the subs, the offense, the base on bounds, like a lot of those decisions and whatnot. And now I'm still thinking about those decisions, but trying to manage the game, see how the game's being played, talk to the refs, look at how our guys are feeling, seeing their moods and whatnot, and how their temperament is during the game. There's just a few more things you're watching for, maybe a little less X's and O's and a little bit more of the intangibles within the game.
You've had a lot of guys that have come on strong over the course of the season, players who maybe came in a little inexperienced, but clearly had, you know, raw tools that you could work with. You've always been big on development. I mean, that's been kind of a pillar of this program since you've been a part of it. Is it harder though to balance right now versus big picture and development when you're a head coach and your names are now attached to the wins, where maybe it's a little bit easier to be patient when you're an assistant?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't felt that. Like I haven't felt like I'm trying to rush anybody to grow at a rate that they're not ready to grow at. And I probably felt like someone said that to you, like now, like the wins and losses are attached to your name only. And it's like, well, shoot, like I felt just as bad when we lost when Nico's name was on the wins and losses too. So I don't know I don't know whether it attaches to my name or not really carries weight for me. If we won, I felt really good about it with Nico too. If we lost, I felt really awful about it too. And I thought that's because of the responsibility Nico gave me, within the program. So I don't know if that plays a part on any of my decisions differently than when I was an assistant. And you're right though, Justin, the hardest thing is to be patient in a world of like today, now, yesterday. It's harder to be patient. I don't think it's hard. It's not harder for me to be patient because I know that it's not a linear path with growth. You're going to have ups and downs constantly, and some guys figure it out quicker than others, and you got to figure out how they learn best, and that takes time too. And it also takes time for them to build the trust and belief in you to let their guards down to understand too. Like at some points, you have to say to yourself, like, I'm not good enough yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a hard thing to say, especially in today's world, where kids get protected by people constantly and don't get to go through the failures. And I think that's part of the reason why Neek had so much success is like, yeah, he failed, and he did not blame just Colorado for what happened. Like he took some ownership of it too. And I think that's a big reason why he is where he is today is the humility to understand like, yeah, I'm not good enough yet. And that's not a bad thing. Like that's all of us. Like I'm not a good enough coach yet. Like I'm still growing. The problem becomes when you're not willing to grow anymore.
Kind of off the concept of growth not being linear, and I mean, success isn't always necessarily going to be sustained for months on end. How much have you kind of learned about that these past couple of years? I mean, you've been in the game a long time, but it feels like these last 3 seasons, especially, are kind of perfect examples of so much can change month to month. You know, you're a top 15 team in November, then you have some struggles in league play. You end up closing the season strong. Last year, you start a little bit slower, but by the end, you're probably playing the best basketball that this program's played in the 21st century. This year, you know, there have been highs and lows, but this team is coming together kind of at the right time. Is it nice to be able to have, I don't know, like a proof of concept to like point back to and be like, look, guys, like don't just give in? Because last year it seemed like we were dead in the water. Everybody's given up on us. And then, you know, we're playing like a top 15 team by March.
Yeah, and you can kind of point to that, right? But to be honest, 7 out of our 9 guys in rotation weren't here for that, so
That's
they
true.
didn't get to experience that. And I think that's probably the harder part of all this is, um, yeah, I got to move over one seat, but basically it's like starting over completely. In terms of a staff too, like Coach DeWeese has been here 1 year with us prior to this year. Tim had only been here 2 years, so those were the two longest tenured guys on staff up to this point that are still here. So like everything was new. And I think that's probably the hardest thing is like relaying back. You want to keep building that culture of the past and reliving those things. And that's why it was really important for me to me that we brought those guys back this summer. Because I thought that our new guys really felt that family atmosphere and felt that connection to the program in a different way that I don't think you can really get unless you bring people back and have those one-on-one, face-to-face interactions. So that was probably one of the biggest things for me in terms of like how to build that love and the fondness and the understanding of what this program is, not just a one season thing. And I think I hope our guys are feeling that. At the end of the day, we just try to make it the best thing for them to be here. And as long as you are bought into your growth and you're bought into your own development, I think this is one of the best places in the country for you to be.
You guys are always going to be able to create good looks from the perimeter. That's just kind of a product of the system. But I mean, you guys have been banging in the paint lately. One of the things I've been really fixating on is in that 3 game losing streak, you know, averaging about 11 free throw attempts per game. It's been more like 31 in these wins, 3 straight games, I believe, with at least 25 points in the paint. Was that kind of a light bulb moment for this group of like, yeah, we've got shooters, but like this is how you compete, especially in league play?
Yeah, and I think if you make shots, you have a good chance to win every game. That's like every team, right? Like if you make shots, you're gonna have a good chance to
You hit
win.
15 threes, you're going to be in a good spot.
15 threes, we ain't winning that. We're not losing that game very often, right? But how do you win within the margins of those games? Because it'll be great. We're a good shooting team. So like we're never gonna turn down threes. But we weren't hunting the paint and we weren't cutting through bodies and we weren't playing physical with the ball in our hands. And I thought that was one of the biggest things. We know what the game plan is against us. It's the same with every team basically we played. So how do you adjust to that? And I think our guys were kind of going through that. And when you have injuries and then you have multiple people that haven't played in this system for more than 3 months, you kind of have to experience those things to understand like what it's going to take. And I thought we got to a point where we were kind of letting people just pressure us and accepting it. instead of like really just taking over and not accepting the pressure and understanding where your drives can come from, how you can space better for one another. And that like your drive doesn't necessarily have to mean in you shooting it, but you drive to make a play for the next person. And I think guys have done a great job of that over the last 4 games specifically. And even before that, I thought the last 6 game stretch, I thought we've played the right way. And we've played
I
the way
agree.
that I think we can play and played the way that I want this team to play going forward. And the success is kind of showing for itself in terms of how they're playing. And whether we make shots or not, I really don't, I do care, but I don't really care in the sense that are we getting the high quality looks that we're looking for? As long as we're playing in that form, that fashion, I think things will end up working out the way you want it to. And I remember Coach Olson, a guy that works with our team all the time, always talked about that what you can't accept in losses, you can't accept in winning either. And I think it goes both ways then. Like we can't look at the game just from if you lost perspective or if you won perspective. These certain aspects of the game get done at a highest level for us, then I feel really good about it. Like I'll always go back to the Utah State game. That's probably the best example of that. Probably 5 out of the 6 areas that we were trying to win at in the margins with, we dominated in. We just lost one of those areas in the worst possible way you could lose it against a team that thrives off turnovers. And so overall, like, yeah, I got to be pleased with the game. Do I not like that one aspect of it? Yeah. But that is basketball.
Kind of, you've talked a lot about just this team having to grow and all the new pieces. And one thing I think that's been huge for you guys, at least in league play, has just been the dependability of Bemba. And I feel like he has kind of a, I don't know, like FU mentality that the guys have kind of bought into in a sense. What have you seen out of him just from growth as a leader? Because like I don't think he necessarily had to be that vocal guy, a couple years ago, but now he is the guy that's been around and he's experienced the highs and lows of the seasons and he knows, obviously what it takes from a physical standpoint to compete in this league.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right. He's one of the most physical guys in our league. He gives 100% every time he's out there. And he's not afraid to get in the fight with people. And we need some of that. Every team needs that, right? I think you look at every good team that wins a championship or is competing at the highest level has one junkyard dog that kind of just sets the tone for the group. And I think we have 2 of them now. I think Jace is also in that same mold as Rashawn. Jace looks like he could be Rashawn's little brother too sometimes, but I think that those 2 specifically have kind of brought a different edge to this group that I think this team needed. And you can see other guys starting to feel more comfortable with having that same type of edge that those 2 bring basically every night. Like it's pretty. Jace is the same guy in practice as he is in the games, and I think that's what makes Jace special too. Is I know what I'm getting every day. Like I know who he's going to be when he shows up to practice. I know who he's going to be in the games. And you trust consistency.
You've got a lot of guys that are playing really good basketball right now. So I don't mean this as a slight towards any of them. Like, but I think you would take a Neat Clifford from last year if you could just put that kind of dominant player on the floor. But I also feel like it's kind of a strength of this team that there's not just one guy you can say, well, if he goes 1 of 10 from the floor, we're good because you just have so much production across the board. Has that been kind of fun to see that like any given night, Jace Butler might go for 20 or Rec and Mooney's might combine for 40, or Jorgensen obviously has the capability of going off. Like they've got so many guys who kind of feel comfortable in the moment of stepping up and being like, all right, this is my game.
No, absolutely. I think that's that team to me is harder to guard than the team that relies on 1 to 2 guys, right? Because if you have one bad night, like it's a bad example, but like, and I haven't seen an off night from Jokic yet, so it doesn't really apply to this. But I mean, I guess it is last year, the first half of the season last year, if Neek wasn't playing well or had a bad game, like we were not winning that game. And then if Lake and Neek weren't playing well, there was no chance. And I think we don't have anybody that like, man, if he doesn't score 15 tonight, we're losing. But we do have consistency within the group of like pretty much everybody's within that 7 to 12 range most nights, right? And then, like you said, every other night, you don't know who it's going to be, but we have the capability of probably 6 guys that could go off for 20 at any given point.
I know you've got to get out of here. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but big game obviously coming up against San Diego State. They've had some highs and lows this season as well, maybe not quite as dominant as we've been accustomed to, but I mean, you look at the metrics defensively, like that's the same tough team. They still forced a ton of turnovers. What do you feel like is the biggest key against a team like San Diego State and having success against them and all that athleticism and length?
Yeah, it's funny. I think your best defense against San Diego State is your offense. And I think it's always been that way. It's how you take care of the ball. It's your shot selection even. I think this is a different game. I probably don't have to tell our guys that, but the difference in this game, we've always said this, is like if you get a good shot early against them, you got to take it. Because if you pass up the good one early, you might not get a shot off later. And I think that's one of the keys of the game is like if we get good shots, you got to step up and shoot it. And I'll never say you got to step up and make it. Step up and shoot it. Like your preparation tells me whether you're going to make it or not. And this team prepares better than a lot of teams that I've been around in the past. They stay in the gym. So for me, it's more about what's their mindset like going into the game. Are they thinking the right way about the shot selection? And I think that's one of the biggest things is your offense taking care of the ball and your shot selection against them. And then it always comes down to rebounding at the end of the day, defensively and offensively against them. Those are two of the keys to the game to me. And the difference I think with them this year than years in the past is they kind of have a team too more where you don't have the Malachi Flynn or Ladie guys where it's like, man, like they are going for 24 tonight. Like if you can stop them, you'll have a chance. They kind of are like us. Like they have multiple guys that can score. Like Reese Dixon Waters can go off for 20. Miles Bird can. BJ Davis can. I think Magoon Gwath is back now. So like they got 4 to 5 guys that can score in 20 any given night too. And I think that's what makes them a little different than years past is they're really hard to guard because of their team, not just one individual, but their team. They put a lot of pressure on you with multiple guys out there.
How important are turnovers in a game like this? You guys have had some struggles at times against ball pressure. They're not afraid to ramp that up. Got a little hairy maybe at times late in the UNLV game. Just what do you emphasize? Like, can you even prepare them by talking about it? Or is that one where it's like you kind of have to come out and feel what it's like for 90 seconds and then you kind of get into it?
Yeah, no, I mean, shoot, we've been pressured all year, so they better. I hope we don't have to feel it in the first 90 seconds. Like we should have already been feeling it for the 26 games of the season by now. Yeah, you know what's coming. I don't. There's no surprises. Like there's not gonna be a surprise attack. It's like, oh shoot, he's ball pressuring me. Like yeah, they're going to. We're prepared for it. We talk about it. We don't really talk about like, hey, don't turn the ball over. We can't do this. I'm really against saying can'ts and don'ts. Just tell them what to do. Like I don't need to know what not to do. Tell me what to do then. And so what we talk about is playing strong with the ball placement of your handling, dribbling through people's bodies, ripping through people's faces. You're entitled to your space. So like that's one thing we've emphasized more is like someone gets in your cylinder, like yeah, throw the elbow through their face. Like you are entitled to that space. So like that's part of the game because I will stand by this till the day I die now. Ever since I saw Kenny Lofton go straight through David Roddy's face, and we got called for a foul on David because he was in his cylinder apparently. That's what I'm going to stand by. If people are in our cylinders, like then throw an elbow right in their face, and they won't pressure you anymore.
I'm gonna let you get out of here. I just wanted to ask you one brief question. Obviously, you're fixated on the right now and not really thinking about the future. You can't think about it a ton, but the Pac-12 schedule is going to be a little bit different. You guys are going to have a lot more non-conference games. In some sense, that gives you a lot of flexibility, but I know it can be kind of challenging sometimes, especially as a competitive program from your size to get games. So just what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it's difficult. I think it's really difficult on your budget too. I don't think people think about that always. It's you have more guarantee games that you have to get to. And then even if you get home and homes, at some point that adds another travel element to it as well. And then 16 games in the non-con in that tight 2 month window, basically. That's a lot of
of
games with
games.
that stretch. And so that also changes things too. Like you probably need to charter more because you're going to have quick turnarounds. You're not going to have those multiple days in between games. So there's an added cost that comes with it too. It's awesome to go to Pac-12. I think but like Mountain West is a great basketball league right now. Pac-12 will only be that much better going forward for us too. So it's great from a competitive standpoint. But it definitely puts a lot of strain on your budget. And how do we figure that out to give us the best chance to have a great non-conference schedule without wearing our guys out at the same time?
It's going to be interesting to see. I think there's real logic in you and teams like New Mexico and Wyoming obviously is easy to point to, but I will be curious to see just what the dynamics of that look like, the hurt feelings and whatnot. You don't have to say anything. I don't want to get you in trouble, but it'll be
No,
it'll be interesting.
we'll play. We're gonna play Wyoming going forward. I think you want the rivalries, right? I can't sit here and say we're not playing Wyoming and then complain about Colorado. So like,
Amen.
it
That's what I don't. That's
doesn't
what you
work like that.
can't have it both ways, right? Can't
No, and
complain
that's a
about
real
that being
rivalry,
snooty. Yeah.
right? Like that game, the border war up there was awesome. That's double the amount of fans they averaged the whole season. And we basically had a sellout for the border war on Saturday here. So why would you not want to play that game? I think that's if you want to get kids interested in basketball in Colorado and develop the youth talent here, like you got to play those games. You got to have the Colorado State sellouts at the CU Event Center and here. It only increases the spotlight on the college basketball scene in Colorado. And if I'm the coach at Colorado, why would I not want that?
Amen. Preaching to the choir. Ali, thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. I really appreciate it. It's
No,
not like that
absolutely.
with all
Justin.
programs. You're always accessible, and it means a lot.
No, I appreciate it. We'll see. Hey, we'll see you in Orange on Saturday.
I'll be there, man. I'm looking forward to it. Big shout out to Ali Farokhmanesh. I'm so thankful for him always being so gracious with his time. Also, big shout out to CSU Ryan Pfeiffer, media relations contact, for helping me put that together. It's great to be able to get him on the show and know that can basically pick his brain about anything and he's not going to get defensive or be short or something like that. It's just always really great conversation. Working on trying to get Jim Mora on the pod should hopefully happen at some point in the near future. I know CSU is busy at the moment, so there's a lot happening behind the scenes. We'll get it at some point, a lot of time before the fall. I thought there was lots that he said that was really interesting. The scheduling stuff is going to be very curious to me this April, May, just kind of building that schedule, what that looks like. It's not easy for programs like CSU who are good enough to punch up and beat a big high major brand to get those types of games. It's one thing when it's 2019, Medved's first or second season, and you've got Roddy as a true freshman and Isaiah Stevens. Sure, Duke will invite you over, but now one, it doesn't really benefit you a ton to play that type of game. You're probably going to lose by double digits. If you were a program with legitimate and aspirations, you'd rather have a game that's a little bit more within reach, but also helps you from a metrics standpoint. I think like New Mexico, for instance, is the perfect type of opponent that you could schedule in non-con. It'll help you with some of the budgetary constraints that are going to be a real deal with having to play this many more non-conference games. It's a little unfortunate that some of the local programs aren't better draws. Northern Colorado, for instance, it just doesn't move the needle like playing Wyoming will, or like playing CU for that matter. And frankly, they're a pretty good team. They might mess around and beat you, and then it's almost like an FCS football game type deal where if you beat them, congratulations, you did exactly what you were supposed to do. You're not going to get any credit for beating a competitive team. But if you lose to them, oh boy, look at now you're going to get mocked and ridiculed. It could really hurt you. Air Force is a metrics landmine outside of potentially playing a road game against them every now and then and giving some fans in the springs a chance to have an easy game and play a true road game without having to spend a ton. I don't really see the benefit of playing them because, again, what if they just get hot to hit 15 threes? You're going to get no credit for beating them, but it'll be interesting to see how all of that works out. I do love hearing Ali on record saying we will continue to play Wyoming. It seemed like Sundance was maybe a little bit in his feelings, some of his post-game comments on some of that stuff, implying that CSU might not be as willing. I will say if you're CSU, you probably hold more leverage in terms of the home and home balance. But in principle, I do think, and I've said this a lot now, but I think a lot like what Ali said, you can't huff and puff and be pissed off about CU never wanting to play CSU and playing hard to get, and then turn around and do the same thing to your most historic rival in Wyoming. It's good for the region. It's good for the growth of college basketball in this state for all these teams to play in. And even with a team like New Mexico, I think it would be fun to play them in the future because you have a lot of history. And, there's value and interest in that game. I think New Mexico would be more intriguing than some of the other former conference mates. UNLV, Nevada, sure. Those are types of games you would play. I don't expect CSU to play San Jose State in the future, despite the Tim Miles connection. Ali's talked about that in press conferences before, how much he hates having to coach against his friends. So reading between the lines, probably don't expect them to play Nico Medved and the Gophers anytime soon either. But it will be very interesting to see kind of how that dynamic plays out and how they're able to fill out the schedule. Before we get out of here, I did want to give an updated Mountain West power ranking, and then we'll give some thoughts on a big Orange Out game against San Diego State. UNLV, that's a good win. You beat San Diego State at home on Saturday. That's a great win. Now we're really cooking with some gas. Now we're giving ourselves an opportunity to climb the rankings a little bit, or the standings, excuse me. Mountain West power rankings too. Not that I think the CSU staff is losing any sleep over where J. Mike has them on the weekly Mountain West power ranking. With that said, let's get into it. We'll get into the San Diego State game. Then if you've got any questions, you can find our way in the Toyota chat. I'll answer as many as I can. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this because there hasn't been a ton of movement, especially at the bottom. But Air Force, got to keep them at 12. San Jose State, I considered briefly jumping them to 10, as they did just pick off Nevada in what was their best win of the season. That said, especially with the head-to-head stuff, I do think the bottom three is pretty clear. Air Force 12, San Jose State, and then Wyoming at 10. They had a nice competitive stretch. They did respond with a win, but I've got them 10. I've got Fresno State at 9. They're a pain in the ass to play. They play good defense, which is always going to allow them to hang around. They rebound pretty well of late. It's going to be interesting to see if they could maybe be a pain for someone day one. I'd really like to see CSU get out of that 8-9 game. I've got Nevada at 7. I think Boise State at 8, Nevada at 7. I felt like the Rams deserved to jump them. Boise's lost a couple of games in a row. They've lost a lot of blowouts of late, which has been weird to see. Nevada was a team I gave some love to on the last version of the power ranking, but now they've dropped 2 straight. They looked terrible against San Jose State. Maybe a team that peaked too early. It's funny, a lot can change month to month. We've talked so much about that. But if I've learned anything in college basketball these last couple of years, it's that teams can look night and day over a 5-6 week stretch. I still have UNLV at 6, despite losing at home against CSU. I think they're playing better ball with consistency. I think they're more dangerous. Plus, UNLV just beat Boise head to head. They still have another game against Nevada coming up. I've got the Rams at 5, which is the highest we've had them in months. I think the winning streak certainly helps. But I think from an eye test perspective, they're playing as good as most of the teams in the league right now. I do think there's a clear gap, between the top and everybody else. But as far as that second tier of teams that could maybe make a little bit of noise and are maybe looking a little closer to what we expected in the preseason, I would say I have a lot more faith in CSU making a run right now than Nevada or Boise State, despite both of those teams clearly having talent. I just feel like the Rams are meshing well. So I've got them at 5. I've got Grand Canyon at 4. They jump a spot. They were in 5 last week after sweeping San Diego State. Still feel like night to night they're a little bit inconsistent at times, but Henley's a great player. They're playing good ball. I've got New Mexico at 3, San Diego State at 2, Utah State at 1. That's basically been the case pretty consistently now. could probably make the argument that New Mexico could maybe jump San Diego State, but in totality, I feel like those are the top three. I feel like that next tier is kind of GCU through Boise, and then you've got Fresno, Wyoming, San Jose State, and Air Force bringing up the rear. But all those teams really outside of Air Force are capable of catching you slipping. And even Air Force, I wouldn't love to play them in the Mountain West tournament, but that's just the element of playing a regional rival 3 times in a year is a pain in the butt. Wouldn't want to play Wyoming again. I don't fear them, but they have an extra layer of motivation compared to a San Jose State or a team like that, who we'll see. I guess Tim Miles can get the boys going a little bit, but you wouldn't expect that to be a team that, does a lot of damage in the conference tournament. As far as San Diego State specifically goes, Aztecs are a really solid team this year. Top 3, I believe, in offensive and defensive efficiency in the conference. I should have checked those stats again, I suppose. But their numbers are really good. They're the same vintage. San Diego State defensively, they force a ton of turnovers. They limit you. They create second chance opportunities that dominate you on the glass. They don't really have the star, Malachi Flynn type guard who you fear is going to go out for 30 miles per hour. It's a really good player. They've got, Reed and Waters. They've got guys that can burn you. Don't get me wrong. But they're closer to the CSU mold of things, like Ali said. It's more of a team effort. I think they're systemically a little bit more dangerous and less individual dependent. Not a great 3-point shooting team, but their numbers, CSU, I think, is 2% better than in league play. As a season, the Rams are a great 3-point shooting team. In league play, they're kind of right in the middle, but you do have to knock down some shots. I think you have to open up the spacing against them, open up some of those driving lanes. If you're missing everything from deep, that can be tough, because I think you're going to have to continue to work the paint like you have, to have some success, get them into foul trouble, to the free throw line. Don't let them punk you. They're a type of team that'll bully you if you give them the opportunity. With that in mind, here's the Xfinity X Factor. It is presented by Xfinity. Imagine that. For me, it comes down to offensive rebounds and second chance points. They're not a great jump shooting team, or a team like San Diego State kills you, is where they start racking up, double-digit offensive boards, getting those second chance opportunities. That's probably going to put you in a vulnerable position when it comes to foul trouble as well. You've got to limit their second chance opportunities. And then additionally, again, such a defensive San Diego State's caliber, give up less than 70 points a game in league play, you're going to have to create some of those opportunities for yourself. Any chance you have to increase the margins for yourself, it's going to be big in this type of game against San Diego State. They're going to be favored. It's a really tough draw. But they're beatable. They certainly are human, and there's a path to victory so long as CSU doesn't kill themselves by not finishing defensive possessions, getting into foul trouble, turnovers like the Utah State game. But to me, offensive rebound, second chance points, that is the Xfinity X Factor, presented by Xfinity. Imagine that. To me, it feels like whatever team scores 70 in this game is going to win, maybe even like 65 if it's a real rough matchup. There's always going to be a lot of physicality in a game like CSU San Diego State. Historically, the orange out's a great vibe. The atmosphere should be rocking. Hopefully the students really turn out. I will say, and it was kind of a weird game. The Rams were trailing for much of that Wyoming game, so I understand it, but the attendance wasn't bad. It also didn't feel like the atmosphere was electric for that one. It came on strong over the last 5 minutes or so. This is the type of game where you need it to be buzzing. My favorite orange out from a media standpoint was the 2017 game, the Manuel Amagbo game winner. He had just such a incredible story on a human level. Had lost his family tragically in a house fire. Really candid post game, really emotional. Talked about how he felt like he was playing for them. It was just one of those moments that was really raw, and it was really humbling to be able to witness it live. But as a fan, I always go back to that 2013 orange out. That's the Harlem Shake game. Some of you youngins listening to the podcast, you're probably like 4 years old when that was a thing. But it was it was the type of experience that validated why I wanted to come to CSU. I was a senior in high school. That whole run was so much fun. That team, Larry Stacey's first year with all those Tim Miles guys. I mean, part of that is why I got deeper and deeper into college basketball and in those Miles years, but also it was a big part of what made me, want to be at CSU and be part of that energy and experience it and get to go to every game. Like that was the dream to me. I didn't have a clue what I was going to do as far as school or profession. Ended up getting a job for the football team. It all worked out for the best in the long run. But that San Diego State game in 2013 was incredible. And there have been some really awesome moments. The Rams, they don't lose an orange very often, but I think it gives them a little bit of an edge in those types of games. The Roddy game was electric in the orange out against San Diego State. Nick and Zay had a moment. It's one of those things where when CSU is good, they tend to beat San Diego State, and they tend to do it in orange. Just a really fun stretch there, though, at the end of that 2013 season. Beat a couple of ranked teams, as Nick is pointing out in the Toyota chat. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to Ali for giving me a little bit of his time. I might talk about the Pac-12 tournament staying in Vegas on Monday. It felt kind of timely given the win over UNLV, but it's something we can ramble about at another occasion. Thank you for listening to the DNVR Rams podcast presented by Branded Bills. Head to brandedbills.com. Use that code BBDNVR for 15% off your first order. I'll be at Moby Saturday. Lots of written content coming your way. Become DNVR diehard. Support local journalism. Much love, y'all. We are always proud to be. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.